The Line is a third-person modern military game with a strong focus on a dark and mature narrative.
What we have here is a game where you're playing Captain Martin Walker, the head of a Delta squad sent into Dubai looking for survivors after the city has been ravaged by sandstorms, and finding the city in a complete disarray of chaos and war. And following the trail of Lieutenant Colonel John Conrad, this decorated military veteran who was left behind, and getting sucked into the dark world that he's essentially created in his attempt to keep order in the city.
They come into Dubai very prepared and also friendly and excited to see what they're going to find there. They're sort of doubting that there's anything very substantial that's happening here, but they've been sent in on a rescue mission. And so these characters, they know each other before they arrive on the scene. Actually, the main character, Walker, and Adams, who's a demolition expert, they've actually fought together for a number of years before this on a number of missions that you'll hear reference to throughout the game. Lugo, he's the third squad mate. He's the youngest one. He's the new guy on the team, and he's sort of a little bit crass and a little bit, he jokes around a little bit more than the other guys do because he hasn't been through what they've been through.
Adios. Hey, you guys hear music? Who cares? Just shut up and keep fighting!
But as we progress through the events, these characters and their relationships begin to evolve. So we start to hear the way that they speak to each other changes. The way that they respond to the squad commands that you give changes. The way that they interact with each other and the things that they do narratively changes. And so their bond strengthens as they're pulled together by these horrible events, but at the same time, there's a lot of things pulling them apart throughout this journey.
Snipers aren't for you.
What the fuck is this?
This is Dubai, Captain. This is what I face every day.
They will evolve over the course of the game, growing from where you saw them at the beginning until the end, where they're almost completely different individuals because of the things that you've experienced. And we wanted to use that to also subvert how the player's feeling about the things that they're going through. So hopefully as the player's going through this emotional journey, the characters that surround them are going to be feeling the same thing. This is not our interpretation of Heart of Darkness. It's just merely one of the things that inspired us. What we were looking to do is put the player on a very intimate emotional journey through the concept of combat and war, where instead of necessarily going in and fighting a black and white enemy where you're the hero and they're the bad guy, you're faced with an enemy that doesn't initially look like an enemy to you. You're fighting soldiers that are like you, US soldiers. They look like you, they sound like you, they're who you came in to save. And we wanted to have that line start to blur a lot like stories like Heart of Darkness, Arknome's Apocalypse Now do for the characters there, where you don't really know what's right, you don't know what's wrong.
For us, I think the biggest thing was really finding our inspirations, finding a way for our inspirations of these thematic elements that we have in the line to connect with the gameplay. Because this is, first and foremost, a piece of entertainment. It's something that we want you to enjoy. But there's a lot of different types of enjoyment, and we want it to be provocative. We want it to help, we want it to invite you to think about these things.
One of the challenges in writing a game like Spec Ops is this hasn't really been done in a video game before, where we're trying to take the player to a slightly darker place than he's maybe necessarily used to or even comfortable going to. And you have to walk that line of, because it's still a game. So you still have to find that line of where the gameplay is still engaging and fun, but yet at the same time, the player's not entirely comfortable with the world he's interacting in.
The thing that's really inspired me as a game developer, and when I'm looking at level design and things like that, is the architecture of Dubai. When I look at those spaces that they've created, and all of our levels are inspired by real-world spaces that are found in Dubai. We've done a lot of research, and it makes for just a really cool, interesting way to use cover mechanics in a real-world or a location that's inspired by real-world architecture. On top of that, you've noticed that these skyscrapers are just spires into the heavens. They're unbelievable. And that gives us a lot of chances for vertical gameplay. There's some really interesting scenarios where you'll be falling through glass, where you'll be walking on top of areas that essentially have been covered in sand and entombed. And so you'll unravel and reveal some of those things. And you'll find also areas that have been completely left alone, or pristine. And so you'll see some areas that kind of show you how Dubai was the day the sandstorms hit as well. And so it just gives us a lot of variety. It gives us a lot of interesting opportunities. And actually as a game developer, it's been an awesome experience to be able to work within this environment.
When people start up Spec Ops for the first time, when they first get into this world, we're hoping that what they notice is the attention to detail that we've made, that to create something that is a unique experience for them, something that they have not seen before in this genre. We want them to come in and almost feel that something's off, something's slightly askew from what they've been expecting, and to run with it. It's like, okay, I want to see where this is going, and just immerse themselves in the journey of Captain Walker and his squad, and allow themselves to be completely caught up in the experience that we've designed for them. And I think they're going to be really surprised with what they find.
Son of a bitch!